Um, I'm just going to start off with the land acknowledgement. The land we are meeting on is the traditional territories of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people. It is now home to many diverse nations, Inuit, and Métis people. I also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Williams Treaty, signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands.
We thank everyone for joining us. And as we move through our conversation this evening, we just wanted to outline some agreements as you utilize the Q&A. Ask that your identity, sit, your experience, walked and lived informs the views that you hold. And we ask that you do all the time in the way in which you express, share, or relay your questions or comments within. We need a conversation. We started school councils, OSHA, so just ask that you, with the email those, try to way know that.
Michelle, can I just interrupt for a second? Your video, your audio is cutting in and out.
All right. Thank you for that, Mark. My apologies, everyone. So I will just say that we ask that you engage in this evening in the Q&A in a chat in the way that enables all of us to engage and participate in a safe space. Thank you. I turn it back to you, Ricardo.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, so this is our agenda for this evening. We're first going to start with introductions. Then we'll have our PCCEO updates. Then we'll have our school email accounts, and we'll speak to that as well. And we'll go into the power and purpose of school council, new business, and the Q&A as we spoke about at the very end. Thank you. So I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm Ricardo Francis. I'm with the Parent Caregiver Community Engagement Office. I'm the school council lead, and I'll just put you over to Michelle Monroe.
Again, Michelle Monroe, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. There are a million things that you could be doing this evening, so I'm so grateful that you chose to spend it with us. I am the Central Coordinator for Parent Caregiver Engagement with the TDSB. Shall I tag Kevin now to introduce himself? Kevin? Or will he be joining us later? Okay.
Yeah, my name is Kevin Permal. I'm the manager for the client service desk here at the TDS. Nice to meet
you. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna start off with a quick little poll, and it's what are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? So I'm just going to launch this, and it's going to give you about 3 minutes to respond. Can everybody see it?
Yes, it's been posted. Yep, people are responding.
1 minute left.
So it appears, Ricardo, that leading with 30% is for updated resources and facilities
Yeah.
for the playground to school technology resources, tied with more welcome and inclusive schools and more constant communication.
And we'll be sharing this information as well in when we post on the PCCEO YouTube channel. Okay.
Thank you very much, everyone, for that.
Thank you. I'm going to end the poll now. Okay. Let's move on with our business of tonight. Okay, before we go into our business, I just want to introduce you to our school council opportunities for progress and enrichment scope. This is our ongoing initiative to provide resources to parents, these webinars, and other things that will be rolling out in the near future, and we'll be keeping you posted. But thank you for attending this evening. Okay, Michelle, your update.
Thank you, Ricardo. So there are a variety of activities that our office will be bringing forward and rolling out. Some of them you've probably already seen, and you'll get a little more detailed on this evening. And so I'm hoping that you'll stick with us while I speak to some of the key things that I'd love for you to hear about our office, whether it be the School Council Innovation Grant, whether it be Parent Caregivers as Partners Conference, whether it be the work that we're doing to enhance and further our settlement services, expanding on our interpretation translation service program to be more effective and responsive in our schools. So it's a very active year for the Parent Caregiver and Community Engagement Office, and we certainly hope that you will continue to connect and reach out to us to support and further and enhance your work. Thanks, Ricardo.
Thank you, Michelle. And next is our IT specialist, Mr. Kevin Permal.
Thanks so much, Ricardo. So let me just share my screen real quick. I'm going to replace your share, okay?
Okay. Yep, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So tonight I'm going to be talking about the school council accounts that we provide to school council members. So the agenda is an overview of these accounts, how you will get an account, what access is included with your account, what happens if a member leaves the school council, how you get support, and any questions that you may have. All right, so if anybody needs a copy of my slides in particular, you can go to this URL, or you can just snap a picture of that QR code, and I'll leave it up here for a couple seconds so you can get your camera and access those slides. I will also have the slides at the end of the presentation as well, if anybody wants to get to the link. Okay. All right, so I'll begin. So, school council shared accounts. Each school council is provided with a shared account to access IT resources. This account is shared amongst the school council chair, co-chair, and vice chair, and it's one account per school council. Last year was the first year that we had this model. And years prior, we had an individual account for each member. And last year we replaced it with a shared account model. So any council members who are continuing in the second year, or others who have left, access to that account will end on October 24th, 2025. So for any new members, or for any members that are continuing from last year, you will still need to register to get an account. After elections are done, the principal must submit the school council chair, co-chair account request form, and it will collect some key information from you. That is your name, your email address, and your phone number. So once you submit that, that ensures that you're a registered member of the school council in one of those three positions. Once that information is all collected, it will be turned over to us in IT services, and we will send an email to all of the registered members, informing them of your account credentials, how you log in for the first time and set your password, and also how to get support going forward. So we anticipate that the account credentials will be sent after October 24th, 2025, once everything, the access has been ended for last year's members. So what access is included in these accounts? Each account has a Microsoft Outlook on the web account, which means you can access any email that is sent to your school council, and you can also send an email on behalf of your school council. It also includes the online version of Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint so that you can do any of the tasks that you need to do. You also have access to Microsoft Teams for any virtual meetings that you need to have. It also gives you access to School Messenger, which allows you to create broadcasts for your school community. And it has access to Wi-Fi. So if you are within a TDSB location and you don't have internet access, you can utilize TDSB's Wi-Fi. So if, things happen throughout the year and a staff member, or sorry, a council member may leave the school council. So what do you do in that situation? So during the school year, any changes to the chair, co-chair, or vice chair must be reported to the Parent and Caregiver and Community Engagement Office via email. So PCEO@tdsb.on.ca. And this is, once that information is communicated to the PCEO, they will inform IT services, and then we will initiate a password reset, and we will send the information, the new credentials, back out to the existing members or the new member that is joining in place of the member who is leaving. So that's important to know. So any of that information must be reported, any of those changes throughout the year, just so we have an accurate sense of who is accessing the accounts. And now, how do you get support? So obviously, IT is a little daunting for some users and some members. So we want to provide as much support as we can for you if you need any assistance. We have a phone line set up. We're called the School Community IT Support. And we provide any and all support for these accounts that we're providing to you. So we can be reached at 416-396-9100 from Monday to Friday between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. After 4 p.m., we have a form that is available at this URL, and you could submit that and we will call you back the following business day. And we can assist with any password resets, assistance logging in, setting up mail on your phone, accessing School Messenger, any of those tasks that you have that you need with this, or that you may be able to do with this account. So we'll be there to help. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us via those channels. Okay, and that is it for my short presentation. But if there are any questions, please feel free to.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Kevin, there are some questions. One is, does the principal have discretion in terms of giving, sharing an email account?
So as part of that collection form, there is a question that asks, do you consent to having this information shared? And that's just around collection, and we need that in order to authorize you so that if you do contact us for support, we can verify your information, because we don't know who we're assisting on the other side. So there has to be some sort of verification purposes. That is the reason that we're collecting your personal information, is just for verification purposes, and we don't use it for any other digital marketing or anything like that.
But all school councils will get will be getting an email address. Is that correct?
That is correct. So there is an account for every single school council that's out there. As long as your principal submits that information to us, we will send those credentials.
And the other question is in regards to the 9-digit email address. Do they need to use that one, or is it another email that they should be using?
So it is now a 4-digit school number, and so the format is basically 4-digit school number SC01@tdsb.on.ca. It's just a generic email address that we set up for each school council, but all of that information is sent to you once you're registered, and we email those credentials out.
Okay.
Okay, and if anybody has any specific questions, my contact information is there on the screen, so feel free to email me. And like I said, the slides, you can take a picture of that or go to that website, and we'll also share the slides as well through however, Ricardo, you're sharing the slides with everybody.
Perfect. Thank you, Kevin, for your because I know a lot of people are very interested in these emails, and you'll probably be getting some questions afterwards. But yeah, we thank you very much for coming on this evening.
No problem. No problem at all.
Okay.
Carter, there are a few questions related to this item. Did you want to address them now or later?
I can answer any that are posed.
So I believe the Wi-Fi one you answered, Kevin. Is there a password we're provided, or is the school admin provides us with Wi-Fi?
Yes, so the same account that you would use for your email, in that same email that we're going to be sending out to each member, it will have the credentials that you can use to connect to the school's Wi-Fi. So you would enter those in once you get to the school, and it will join you to their Wi-Fi and allow you to use it on your personal device.
I've got one other question. Who else, besides the registered school council users, has access to the accounts?
Nobody else. So the only people that have access to the accounts are the registered members. So they can, it's not shared with anybody else other than those users.
So the question is, will the existing old school council emails no longer be available and replaced with a new one?
That is correct. So if you had last year, if there were members who have left now, they will lose access as of October 24th, which is when we will cut off access to all of those accounts. And then we will change the passwords and then send out the new credentials to any registered members. If anybody had an existing account prior to last year, those accounts were ended last year. So that would be the individual account with your first name last name at tdsb.on.ca. Those are no longer functioning, so there should be no access to those accounts anymore.
I just got there's another question. I don't know if you managed this school council messenger. Can you speak to any questions on that?
Yeah, so School Messenger is the community broadcast application and website, and that's used if in conjunction with, I'm assuming, the principal, and if there's any community messages that need to be sent out to the school members.
And so the question is, are these announcements limited to the co-chairs and vice chairs?
I'll take that one, Kevin.
Sure.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is limited to co-chairs, vice chairs. It's the co-chairs, vice chair who are the communicator liaison for school council. And so if you want more details on school messenger, there is a TDSB operating procedure for school messenger for school councils. And maybe what we'll do is get that shared out in our next communication for all school councils, so you're aware of what that procedure is around school messenger.
And there's one other question in regards to the two-step. Are there any issues with that authentication?
No. So we have I have to double check if these accounts have the multi-factor authentication set up on them, or if it's just a self-service password reset that's set up. And my apologies, I didn't have that information in this presentation. So just here.
Okay, and there's not a final question. Will legacy information and emails continue to be available when the school council email account is reset in October, on October 24th?
Correct. Any information that is in the mailbox will still be there. All of the communication, it is continuous, so it will continue. We do not delete any of that information, and we do not reset the account. So if there's any, it needs to be continuous throughout years. So none of that information will be removed. And I do not see that there is multi-factor authentication set up on these accounts. So I believe there's no second step of authentication. And that's and the reason for that is because this isn't a shared account, and it'll be used by the chair, the co-chair, and the vice chair, where those are set up. So there is no multi-factor authentication set up. So because we didn't want to have any conflicts in that MFA.
There's another question, Kevin.
Sure.
Can councils reach out to your office directly for supports, or do they have to go through the principal?
No, they can absolutely reach out to us. Our contact information is here, 416-396-9100. We're available Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And outside of those hours, you can reach us at this website. We have a contact form there. So if you fill that in, we will contact you on the next business day. And we can help you with any questions you have or any assistance you need, setting it up on your phone or accessing it from your computer. However you need assistance with these accounts, we can assist you with that.
And do you see any other? I think yeah. Okay,
No, I
so
think you've covered most.
perfect.
Wonderful. All right, and
Okay.
like I said, if there's any questions after the fact, my contact information is there, and please grab a copy of the slides, and you can reach out to me.
Perfect. Thank you very much for coming out this evening. I know you're busy as well, but thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Not a problem at all.
Okay. So I just wish to point out to everyone, because I'm seeing some raised hands. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A. And yeah, thank you. Okay, so we're going back to our presentation here. Just one moment, please. Okay, everybody see we're back on track. And now I'll just go to the next slide. Okay, and now we're going to go into the power and purpose of school council. And what is school council? And really what it is a welcoming advisory group of parents, caregivers, staff, and students if it's a secondary school, and community members. So the purpose of school council, is really about creating community, supporting student learning and well-being, building stronger connections between home, school, and community, empowering parents and caregivers to engage in education, and to promote a shared vision of student success. And when we continue on the purpose of school council, is really to create meaningful opportunities for parents and caregivers through workshops, resources and learning, strengthen communication and collaboration across the school community. And the one of the other things is really a big important thing is really about leading by example, just championing TDSB's values, policies, and the multi-year strategic plan for student success. We talk about the power of school council today, and sometimes and especially when we're trying to get people involved in school council, is really what a beautiful opportunity it is to be part of school council, and how it can really, a strong school council can really heighten the level of participation in the school and contribute to a really fine environment. So school counselors are a powerful way to collaborate with the principal and support school initiatives and give every voice to the community. Actually, I can put it this way. It's about giving every voice in the community a seat at the table. Because really what the school council is about is reaching out to your school community and finding out what their ideas, thoughts, and concerns are, and bringing it to the table, and then trying to provide resources or activities or things to address those concerns that are brought in from the community. Okay, and like really why it matters. We talk about student achievement, we talk about equity and conclusion. I'm just going to pause here because one of the things that I'm noticing is we always use these terms, and sometimes even I forget what they mean. So I'm just going to give you a quick background, an explanation of what equity means. It's really about ensuring everyone has access to the resources and opportunities they need to succeed, recognizing and addressing systemic barriers. And for inclusion, it means creating environments where everyone feels welcomed, respected, and able to fully participate, regardless of their background or identity. And now we're still on why it matters. And one of the big important things is about communication. It's really about knowing who your audience is, the how and the whys, what tools do we need, i.e. like if we need translation or interpretation services, what can we do as a school council to help create a thriving and safe environment for all? And now when we talk about encouraging engagement, which is a big thing, school councils are always trying to get volunteers, always trying to get the numbers up in terms of membership, always trying to keep people, ensure that we're meeting quorum at our meetings. So one of the things we can do is communicate clearly about the goals, meetings, and decisions. Really like celebrate, because a lot of times you're doing all this work and you're forgetting, you know what? We've done a great job here. And really acknowledging the work that you've done and celebrating it, and that of your volunteers as well. And the other thing is to really start to build strong relationships in your local organizations. One of the things is to maybe go out and do a walkabout around your school just to find out what is available to your school. I've done that before, and people were fascinated at the resources because you're driving by every day. You don't notice what's there, and sometimes there's some really great resources in your community, great agencies that can provide some support. Your libraries are the libraries these days are wonderful opportunities, and have tremendous programs and resources as well as your local Ys or whatever your local community agencies. And the other thing is, when we're talking about encouragement, it's really about offering meaningful ways for parents and caregivers to get involved based on their interests and strengths. And one of the other things that I'm going to speak to is this whole, when we're asking, the ask to say, hey, listen, do you want to volunteer? Do you want to participate? One of the things that I'd like to share is if you provide people with what the expectation is like, well, we're going to need you like for an hour and a half for pizza lunch, or you know what, if you can come after school, can you do this? Or even subcommittees are great opportunities because then people can work at their own leisure and just report back to the school council. So these are all opportunities that you could take advantage of to really encourage participation with the school council. And the school council bylaws. I encourage every member of the school council to get familiar with the school council bylaws. The school council's bylaws provide clear rules and structure to guide how the council operates, makes decisions, and stays accountable to its membership and the school community. And you probably have seen this, hopefully around your schools, the multi-year strategic plan. And I'm just going to go in brief as to what this is about. It's really about your roadmap as a school council helps school councils align their goals and the board's priorities like equity, student well-being, achievement, and community partnerships. By connecting your work to the plan, you help create a stronger, more inclusive schools for everyone. And finally, we're going to take a break from me, and we're just going to do another poll. And the poll question is, what are your fears and or concerns about your school council? Okay, I'm going to launch it now, and you have 3 minutes to respond. Thank you. Does everybody see the poll? Yeah. Thank you. Oh, yeah, financial and social pressures. Yeah, that's high. And I just want to share with you the reason we're taking this poll is not just to get this information, it's really to help us in terms of how we do our work and what we see from you as to what we can do to really help in terms of our work, in terms of our presentations, resources, that we can share with you. Okay, there's 1 minute left. Okay, 30 seconds. And that's it. Okay, so we're gonna end now and we're just gonna move on with the presentation. Okay.
So thank you, Ricardo.
No.
I wanted to just take a few minutes to just have us reflect on our current context. And if you've been to the town halls before, you know that each year I try to ground us in terms of school council leaders, chairs, coaches, vice chairs, parents, and caregivers in our current context, because it's really important that we reflect on our current context to ensure that council content is connected to our current context. And so I put this visual up for you to just be reminded that across our city, we have parents and caregivers who are experiencing, right, who are having serious food sovereignty issues and concerns. And we ask that council keeps that in mind when you are thinking about the number of fundraisers you do, if you do a fundraiser, because finances are significant issues for parents and caregivers across our district, but even just families across our city. So we ask that you keep that context in mind. We ask that you think about the way council is responsive or supportive or even aware of whom you're serving and who the parents and caregivers are, excuse me, within your school. And I encourage that if you've not done so, that once your council begins, you connect with your principal to just get some data on whom you're serving, because whom you're serving should guide the way in which you're planning your activities and the nature and the types of activities you plan. Next slide, please. The Toronto Foundation put out this really great report that really speaks to the realities and the lived experiences of families across our city. And I just wanted to put this in context for you, because while it's for the city of Toronto, it's community outside of TDSB, but within it's our parents and caregivers. And so you'll see that over 50% of Torontonians are worried about themselves or a family member, right? We have over 50% of adults feel depressed or feeling concerned or isolated or alone. And so I just really wanted you to really think about, how are we doing our activities here? Are we hybrid? Are we virtual? Are we in person? How are we really connecting and reaching out to the parents and caregivers whom we are serving? And this context I present with the hope that you will be able to give some considerate thought to this before you begin your planning for the year. Next slide, please. So in order for you as council to address the current context and deal with the current parents and caregivers, I love this little visual because it means that you can't use this phrase at all this year. The phrase of "we've always done it that way," right? Because if we say that we've always done it that way, it means that we're not creating space to be able to be responsive, right? And in addressing what may need to be addressed in this context, we may not be able to be open to hearing new voices, perspectives, and experience that will come to council, and that comes to council every year. And I say that because each year, every school gets a new cohort of parents. And so if we remain open and willing to assess what we've done in the way in which we've done it, to then transition it instead of being stuck in "we've always done it that way," it may serve our council and our parents and caregivers in a way that will enable both to thrive. Next slide. So the ask as you begin your years is remember that always won't open new doors. Being open to new ideas, hearing new perspectives, welcoming differing voices and differing experiences to ensure that council can be robust and welcoming is the way that's going to enable your council to be able to thrive, but also enable you to have activities that meets the needs of parents and caregivers, which makes it easier for you because if you're organizing activities that meets those needs, then it's more likely that they're going to come out and support and volunteer and contribute to council in ways. So as you begin your year and you're starting your planning, I just ask that you're looking for new and innovative ways to expand on what you do, elaborate on what you do, but also look at different ways in which you deliver it. Thanks, Ricardo. So I started earlier and now I wanted to really elaborate on and provide some update on some of the activities of our office. We're rolling out an ambassador program. We're working on the design of it right now. The purpose of the ambassador program as we're preparing it is really going to be to provide learning opportunities and growth for parents and caregivers who are particularly interested in leading in the area of engagement and navigating the education system. We'll be looking very intentionally on micro-credential pieces. So the ambassador program will be shorter segments where parents and caregivers will be able to engage in particular learning about particular areas to be able to sort of enhance and just build upon your capability to navigate the education system. Our interpretation and translation service, we have a new staff, Sylvie, Charlie Karam, who is leading that program. And her focus is really on strengthening. We have always had an interpreter training program that we open to parents and caregivers across the Toronto District School Board. We recognize that the languages that we need are in our community within the Toronto District School Board. And what we want to do was create a training program so parents and caregivers who speak multiple language could bring that asset to us. So we are wrapping up the final cohort that we had last year. We are ensuring that they'll be beginning their practicums and getting trained, and we'll be looking to do work this year to look at starting a new cohort for the following year. Parents and Caregivers as Partners Conference is around the corner. We are hosting this year a slight shift in the model. In a year when we're hearing from parents and caregivers that we want to touch, we want to feel, we want to be able to access, connect, and communicate with staff, that's what we've done. So the Parent and Caregivers as Partners event will be in person. We'll be holding 2 events, one at David Mary and one at West Humber. So our West folks were coming west. The conference has really not been west for some time. So we intentionally wanted to go real west. So I know there are probably many who are saying west, Michelle, West Humber, but we're certainly hoping that the folks up in North York and Etobicoke North will come out and support the conference. It is an evening where we have invited as many Toronto District School Board programs, services, and departments to come out, so you will have the opportunity to speak directly to staff. So if you have a special education question, we're going to have a special education department representative. If you have questions around OT or speech pathologist, they're going to be there. If you want to learn about our Con Ed program, they're going to be there. If you want to talk to our social workers about what they do, we're going to be there. We have worked hard to tap into the departments that we've heard from parents that they're interested in. So we certainly hope that you're going to come out. The information has gone out. So we certainly hope that you will join us that evening. It is a drop-in. So the intent is you drop in, speak to whom you need to connect with, and pop out and enjoy the rest of your evening. It is a slightly different model from the past, but we thought this year would be ideal because we wanted parents and caregivers to be able to connect directly with staff. The conversation series will be rolling out again in November, so please look forward to that. The conversation series is really about providing a space where parents and caregivers across our district can come out and hear from an expert in areas identified by parents that they want to learn more about. We try to do conversations that are not already covered broadly at the school level. And so our conversation series that will be launched in November, we're going to be hearing from a speaker on the topic of, I'm drawing a blank. Civil discourse.
So,
Thank you. The
civil
question
yeah.
is civil discourse still alive? And what that simply means is in a time, in a socio-political environment where each of us has varying opinions and views, and in some spaces where identities are defining the conversations that we will or will not have, this speaker is going to really guide us through how do we do it? How do we talk to each other when we significantly disagree on something? And is there a way we do it and provide us with tools? But I think most importantly, he's also going to speak to why it's essential and important that we find ways to be able to speak with each other in ways that don't isolate, harm, or hurt. And the last thing I want to speak on is we have created some wonderful vaping and cell phone resources for schools. There's a wonderful kit that's available to school councils. So if this is an area of interest for you, we have provided you with a website that you can share to parents and caregivers. We have a variety of kits that provides you with flyers, with information and resources, with handouts that you can share and distribute with parents and caregivers, just to give them information about what's happening with vaping, with children and young people, what the research is telling us, but also provide strategies for parents and caregivers around how do you have conversations, what do you do with this information, and how you get it out. So we have shared that with all schools. If you've not received it, if you visit our website at our main site at the Toronto District School Board, and you just go into parents and caregivers and visit the Parent Community Engagement Office, you will be able to access this resource that is available to you. I believe those are the key things that I wanted to speak to. We'll speak more about the School Council Innovation Grant. I know you want to hear about it, but it's upcoming. Thank you, Ricardo.
Oh.
Oh, so it's still me. So one of the ways, I think this is my last slide that I wanted to end, is I really hope that your approach to your school year is focused on unearthing joy. I really love this image because it just emanates joy, and that the priorities for you this year are aligned with joy, engagement, and belonging. Right? But while focusing on the ways in which we're engaging in activities that engage parents and caregivers to address disproportionate outcomes for students. So while we are not teachers and we're not in classrooms, the research is clear that parents and caregivers play such a significant role in the education of their children and can be collaborators and partners in that. And what we need to do is just build their capability around that. So as our district has priorities about literacy and numeracy, right, and attendance and absenteeism, I'm really hoping, and equity and indigeneity, I'm hoping that council, as you're thinking about things that you're doing this year, that you're covering some of these areas in activities that you do for parents and caregivers that will build their capability to effectively engage their children, engage our school system and district around the best interest of their children. And we approach it from a place of joy and joy of learning. And I want to just remind everyone that the Toronto District School Board's Parent Involvement Advisory Committee is still a very active committee. They are meeting throughout the school year. They have a meeting coming up in October. The meetings can be watched live. So if you've never attended a PIAC meeting, we encourage you to do so. We encourage you to watch the meeting, and you're able to access that information from the Toronto District School Board's PIAC page. And that's all. Once you go to our website, you just Google PIAC and their page will come up, and you'll be able to watch the October meeting. The mandate of the Parent Involvement Advisory Committee is to advise the board. And the board in this scenario that we are in means that they provide advice to the supervisor, but also to the Director of Education on any area under the Education Act, and particularly that relates to parent-caregiver engagement. Their purpose is to connect with school councils and with you. And so they have a really robust website that is here with a great page for school councils. They provide you with wonderful resources that are available to you. So, if you just visit their page, you will be able to gain access to all this information. They're also ward-based represented. If you want to know who your rep is for PIAC, if you go to your school's website, all the PIAC reps' names are named on your school's website. So you'll be able to know whom your ward rep is, and feel free to reach out and connect with them. Thank you.
One moment. Okay, I'm just going, there's a quick question here in regards to PIAC. Will PIAC meetings still be live streamed?
No, they will not be live streamed, but you will be able to watch their meetings. You've heard directly from the ministry that boards are not to be live streaming meetings. PIAC is a legislated body, which takes its sort of operational directions from the ministry. And so you will be able to, the meeting will be public, you'll be able to watch it, but it will not be live streamed.
Yes, please continue to put your questions in their Q&A, because we'll be responding to them. Okay. Okay, so what's new? Okay, and this is I've been seeing a lot of comments, and people are really interested in the School Council Innovation Grant, which was launched October 6th. Deadline is November 28th. Now, here is one of the things. It's really a great opportunity for your school. It provides opportunities to engage your parents and caregivers, or it strengthens your school council. I encourage you to apply for this for the School Council Innovation Grant. It supports creative projects that build capacity and connect with parents and caregivers. But one of the things that I really want to say here, I've vetted these school council applications in the past. One of the things is, that disqualifies an application is it's not detailed enough. The explanations aren't clear, or you didn't fall within the eligible criteria. Please ensure that when you're doing these applications, that you really put an effort into. I'm not saying you have to write an essay. That's not what we're looking for. But just do a bullet point as what does this look like, and what the budgets. Just be very clear as to what those things are, and also look at what you cannot spend money on, because that will disqualify your application as well. So please just pay attention to those things. We really want a lot of schools to be successful in their application. So please pay attention to what's available. The school council, you can visit our website, but one of the things I'm just going to say is if you go to TDSB school council, there's a bunch of different buttons, as they call them, that you can click on, and the resources are there, as well as there's and I'm just going to there'll be a QR code at the end. But also, if there's also toolkits that are available, and it outlines practically everything you need to run a school council. If it's not there, please respond in to our form on the page, and please give us your feedback, and we'll make sure that we can get that information there for you. Okay, so here's your opportunity. When we spoke, I spoke about the application, what you need to do, not to do. Well, we're having 3 information sessions, one on October 16th, one on October 30th, and one on November 13th. In the meantime, you can also send questions if you have them, so that we can address it during those sessions. And now it's Michelle again.
Thank you, Ricardo.
Hello? No problem. Go, sorry.
I always want to speak briefly on the school improvement planning process, because I want to be sure as councils that you're involved and engaged. One of the messaging that my office has been relaying to principals as I've had a busy couple of weeks of September and October trying to get to families to schools is reminding principals that school councils are to be consulted and not informed on the SIP. So the school improvement planning process is a process that schools engage in to set priorities and goals for the school. And parents and caregivers and council has a role in that. So we're just really reminding you that as you begin your year, that one of the items on your agenda for your meeting should be the SIP provides tools that offers you options as to the way in which councils can get involved. There is no one way, right? Each school may look differently how council gets involved in the SIP. We have seen examples where the school council meets with the school to get the overall priorities and focuses on goals. And then the school council engages in a process that they consult parents and caregivers on the SIP. And then they provide that feedback back to the school, who then tries to incorporate that to the whole process. We have where the school, if the school has a committee, where representatives from councils is invited to be on that committee to provide voices, the voice of parents and caregivers and council on the committee. There is no one size fit all in how it is done. What's really important is that you're consulted. So chairs, co-chairs, we're asking that you put this on your council agenda to be sure that you are a part of that process and you're able, you along with parents and caregivers across the school has an active role in the SIP process. Next slide, please, Ricardo. So the next thing we wanted to flag for you was the school statement of need. The school statement of need is a document that comes to the school council chair directly from the superintendent each year, that comes in the shape of a form that is to be completed by school council in collaboration with parents and caregivers, that really identifies and outlines parents and caregiver community priorities for the school, right? The purpose of the SON is for the superintendent to use in case there is a replacement or a vacancy in terms of the school. The superintendent will have this document as a guide as they go through their hiring process. It's usually completed by November each year. And here's what we ask. Council, we ask that when the SSON comes, what we're finding is it's being rubber stamped and just sent back. So the one you did last year, you just rubber stamp it and send it back. We're going to ask that, you take a few minutes to review it. You consult with your parents, caregivers about what you did last year to see if there's any tweaking, shift, or change, because we want to be sure that if a change occurs in leadership at the school, that your voice is accurately represented in the school statement of needs. So again, another thing I'm going to say is that I will direct to our chairs, co-chairs. This is another agenda item for school council as you begin your year, to be sure that you're maybe doing some pre-thinking about the school statement of needs. You're now in advance, before it is due, looking at what you did last year, thinking about what you want to revise, making those revisions. So by the time the superintendent gets that document to you, you are ready to respond.
Before we move to this, I hope my mic is still on. Yes, it is. I just wanted to speak to answer some of the questions that were posed in regards to the School Council Innovation Grant. No, we do not have a sample reference for the application, but we will have, during the information session, you can ask any questions in order for your application to be successful. In terms of how many schools were disqualified, I presently do not have that information. I don't know, Michelle, do you have that information?
No, I don't
Okay.
have that with me.
Yeah, okay.
However, we have a lot of our data on the School Council Innovation Grant site. So if you visit it, you'll be able to get a sense of how many applications we received and how many were approved directly from the site.
And the grant is not based on first come, first serve. It is based on equal consideration. Oh, so again, how do we sign up for the grant information? You can go to the TDSB School Council, the TDSB School Council website, and the link is there, or you could go to yeah, just go to TDSB School Council. That'll make it easier. And actually, it's also in the chat. Okay, so there's a question here. My question was, in regards to the school, the local trustees. Actually, I'm gonna ask Michelle to speak to that.
Thank you, Ricardo. Before I do, I have dropped the link to the PAC site in the chat. So there were multiple questions about how do I learn about PAC? How do I know when they meet? Please just visit their site. You will get that information. I've also dropped the link of all things school council in the chat. Anything you want to know about school councils in the Toronto District School Board, we're really working hard to keep it in that one place for you. So please visit there. You'll get information on bylaws, on School Council Innovation Grant, on related you can find in that one-stop site. So let's speak about it, because I did see a couple questions about who do I connect and communicate with now that that there are no trustees right now while the board is under supervision. At the beginning of the year, the supervisor put a communication out to the system saying to parents and caregivers that he wants to hear from you. He wants to hear directly from you. So school councils, parents, if that you have that you would post to your trustee, please post it directly to the supervisor. He had indicated that he wanted to hear from you, that he's willing to hear from you. So I really encourage that you continue those questions and dialogue directly to the supervisor. At the same time, I'm hearing and reading a lot about, my apologies, about parents and caregivers feeling very concerned that during the supervision period that there's a loss of access to voice, to awareness, to what's happening in our system, how it's happening, to advocacy. I clearly understand that trustee played a role that was very close to local schools and local communities, and that may provide somewhat of a gap. But I do want to say that For example, our intentionality around the parent caregivers as partners is to remind parents and caregivers that you still have access to information around navigating our system, to connecting with staff about programs and services that have impact and implications for you and also your children. So I just want to remind you, the district is not closed and parents can still absolutely use the parent concern protocol to navigate the education system, to learn, to get information, to get your queries responded to get a question answered. Those things have not gone away. The political navigation or the policy and procedure inquiries or the budget questions around the board, those questions you can absolutely continue to direct to the supervisor to request some responses about. But things regarding your classrooms and your schools, I just want to say staff are still here and providing services and trying to respond to those questions and the inquiry that you will continue to put forth. I believe that was the only question there, Ricardo, around that.
Yes, it was. How do I?
What
Okay.
you should expect, the school
I'm-
statement of needs, the school statement of needs will probably be coming to you around late October, early November.
And the SIP is the school improvement process. That was one of the questions. I'm just going to move on because one of the questions is about fundraising. And yeah, we are going to, one of our first presentations is actually going to be about fundraising and what else school council can do. There's we're finding that some parents are saying that all our school council seems to be interested is in fundraising. So we're offering other suggestions for school councils. We're also going to have a presentation on an effective school council, and we're also going to have a presentation on civil discourse, and this presentation will follow the conversation series. It'll be just just to see what happens there, and then have conversations around that and gear our presentation towards that. And one of the things I really we haven't posted a date, but it should be up shortly. And this is an opportunity for, it's called Let's Talk. And this is an opportunity for parent councils not to just speak to concerns, but also to share ideas. And we are looking that will be it'll be 2 hours that we'll be offering for that evening. And we just hope we have your participation for that. And finally, we're just going to go back and look at the policies and procedures for school communities. When I'm speaking, also when I'm saying that, do we have these presentations? But we also have presentations. You can just Google PCCEO YouTube, and there's a number of presentations already there on effective school councils, the bylaws, end of year process. So all those are there, and we're going to be continually updating them throughout the year. And then, so here is again, this has already been put in the chat, but where's my oh, there it is. Here's the QR code that you can scan as well to link yourself to our school council page. Again, tremendous amount of resources. The toolkit is there. The toolkit speaks to everything from insurance to the police reference checks. So it's all there for you. If it's not there, like I said, we will put it there. Endeavor to put it there, and you can just there's a form you could fill out. Well, a link you could fill out, and we'll be able to respond to that as well. Again, we're talking this. actually, the QR code here is improperly labeled, but I'm telling you, this QR code is for your for the innovation grant. So I'm just going to go back to the Q&A, and we're going to just look at what questions you have here. Yes, in terms of the school council innovation grant, yes, there is a specific criteria for approval as outlined in the application form. Okay, how do I inform the principal and our parent council members that there is more to council than only fundraising? Michelle, do you wish to answer this one, or? Not there. Okay.
Actually, yes, I can. Great question. May I propose that you begin with the purpose and mandate of school council? If you look at Regulation 612, which is the legislation that governs school councils across Ontario, it states very clearly the purpose and mandate of the school council is to advise the school on any education-related matter. It's also to engage and consult with parents and caregivers within the school and also engage in activities around that. Fundraising is mentioned within that legislation as an activity that council may engage in at the discretion of the school. And so if you ground the conversation in fundraising, in the legislation about fundraising, that may provide your members, co-chairs, and leadership a different perspective as to the mandate. But may I also recommend that that position comes with what are some of the more innovative things and more engaging, meaningful things that council could be doing instead of fundraising, because that has to be balanced. And one of the things I hear a lot for councils who say, Michelle, we fundraise because we must fundraise. Let me say that there is no school in the Toronto District School Board that is required to fundraise. It is an activity that council, parents and caregivers, you may choose to engage in. It is not a required thing. And so because of that, I ask you to just keep in context how many you do, and what your purpose for doing them is, and that, the board asks that if you are to do it, that you have a plan, a clear plan as to why you're fundraising. And it's not to have a fund that you're going to keep just in case for next year, so you'll have some money left, because one of the expectations of our board is that the funds you collect for the year should be used in the year in which you collected, because you lose a cohort of parents every year. So you don't want to be fundraising from a cohort of parents to save the money for something next year when those cohorts of parents are graduating this year. So these are some of the things we ask you to keep in mind, and just keep focus of not all parents and caregivers are going to be able to do it. So what are you doing? How are you doing? How many are you doing? Because those things really matter. And connected to that, I think what I'll say is a couple of things. One, please note that our business services provides a lot of grants opportunities for council. You can get that information on our school council page that I've posted in the chat for you to access that page. We have a team of staff that goes out and research grants to be sure that they meet the needs of the board for school councils, right? And so that's another way where you could be accessing resources. Each year, school councils receive the year with some funds. So at the beginning of the school year, the school budget houses a minimum of 300 and a maximum of 1,000 for school council related activities. So this is another item, chairs, co-chairs, for your meeting agenda. School council funds. These funds are there. They're allocated for the school council to determine how they wish to spend those funds. Those funds cannot be transferred from the school's budget to the school council's account if you have your own external account. It must stay within the school budget. However, council gets to say to the principal how those funds will be used. So if you've not done so for your next meeting, put it on the agenda and request that the school provide you with a printout as to those funds so you know exactly how much you have. So between now, there should be in the schools budget for school councils, 300 minimum, maximum 1,000. The minimums and the maximum is determined on the total number of students. In late November, there'll be an additional 500 that will be allocated for school councils. The ministry has mandated that this 500 is really used by council to try and connect to parents and caregivers whom you don't always see, who are not always in the school. So you're coming up with innovative ways in which to use that money to reach an audience that you would not reach usually.
So, and the other thing,
So-
oh, sorry, my apologies.
There are alternatives. And if you provide this, information around, go ahead, Ricardo.
Yeah. So one of the questions that I know is in regards to the principal's signatory. Yes, the principal must be signatory to all school councils accounts. Question here is about what was the app called used to communicate. I'm not really sure what that question is, but there are apps that school councils use, such as WhatsApp, to communicate. Yes, again,
They do it, but it is not approved by the Toronto District School Board.
oh, yes, thank you. The other thing is, yes, the presentation will be available at the end of the meeting. Again, there's a question around the app. Can you please provide the name of that, what you're speaking to, so I'll be able to respond? Okay, so in regards to planning a fundraising food festival, is it allowed? Yes and no. In order to have to do fundraising at the TDSB, you must use approved vendors. Yes, we are going to be having sessions with presentations in regards to, or workshops in regards to handling diverse communities and how to address difficult situations. The difficult situations are going to be part of our civil discourse presentation.
Ricardo, if I may, I believe the app that's being inquired is about School Messenger. So School
Okay.
Messenger is not an app, it's an actual tool that the board offers to school council chair, co-chair, vice chair as a tool to communicate with parents and caregivers. So once the district receives the name and contact of the school council chair, co-chair, vice chair, I believe Kevin had alluded to, once that information is sent to the board, our IT department will then activate the account, the email account for the school council chair, but it will always also activate School Messenger. It will also activate Microsoft Teams. And these are the tools that the school council chair, co-chair, vice chair has access to connect and communicate with parents and caregivers. So it's School Messenger and it's not an app, it's just a TDSB tool.
In regards to the food handling certificates, yes, when you're there must be, I believe, at least one member or more that has a food handling certificate when sharing food at the board. Would you like to speak further to that, Michelle, or?
I'm also going to ask that before you engage in these particular items, these types of events, that you consult with our risk and liability office, just simply to be sure that One, because we have clear procedures now around, so school councils, you cannot bring in barbecues or rent them before. You have to use our vended barbecue. You need to have the proper certification before you can serve and handle food. If you're bringing in particular types of equipment, whether it be a bouncy castle or anything for that evening, it has to be our vendors. There's a particular level of insurance that's required for it. So we just want to be sure that you check with our risk and liability office in planning these types of events to ensure that it goes well.
And the final question is it typical for the principal to revoke the pizza lunch initiative from the school council, particularly when it represents the sole fundraising activity?
You know, that is not a question that Ricardo and I can answer in this forum, right? Because we don't understand all the circumstances, we don't know all the nuances around it. So I recommend that you connect Ricardo offline to provide more context, so we'll be able to provide with you a wholesome response.
Okay, okay, so how do you get in touch with us? Again, you can use this QR code to get in touch with us, or just Google TDSB School Council, and there is a service form that's available there, and that service form you can connect to myself, which I deal with school councils and community liaison groups, and there's other people. There's Sylvie Charlie Cram as well for settlement. So yes, there's always an opportunity to get in touch with me. I normally respond within the same day. So yes, yeah, there's always that opportunity to get in touch with us. And it's now 8 o'clock almost. We want to just be cognizant of people's time, and we appreciate that you came out tonight for this meeting. And we wish you the best throughout the school year, and we are going to be there to support you as you move forward with your school council and those initiatives. And I truly value, and PCCEO office, my office, we truly value your feedback. So please reach out to us as you need. We're also, and please come to our information sessions, come to our conversation series, parents as partners. All this information is going to be continually shared. It's going to also be on our website, so you know what's available to you. And I'm wishing you all good luck in terms of the school council innovation grants. And yeah. And Michelle, do you have anything you wish to add?
Not at this time. I was quickly going through the Q&A to ensure that we've covered most of your questions. So I think my final words will be thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you. If you've taken on a leadership role as a council chair, a vice chair, anywhere on the executive, or you've just given up your time to be on council, thank you for doing it. We do not take it lightly in the Toronto District School Board. We recognize that you're doing this in addition to your full-time jobs and in addition to raising children and family and etc. So we wish you a great year. Our office is here to support you in any way that we can. We just ask that you grant us grace. Sometimes the volume of increase in questions we get is more than we can immediately respond to. So just bear with us, and as you send your questions through, and we try to get back to you in an expedient way. I wish each and every one of you a wonderful year. Bring joy to your council this year. Where you may be seeing divisions or disagreements, please reach out to the school principal for supports or even connect with us to see if there's any way we can connect you elsewhere for supports, because it's really important that parents and caregivers, what I call the big kids in our schools, are setting examples in the ways in which we connect and communicate to resolve our differences. So wishing you a wonderful year. Looking forward to seeing you at the Parent Caregivers as Partners events coming up. Look out for our flyer. It's out there. And have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.